Welcome to another Jarvis video series. In this particular video, I am going to be going over how I lost 60 bucks in a buy signal. Okay. This was all me. This had nothing to do with Jarvis. This had nothing to do with the market. I just wasn't paying attention, but it's okay, right? Because it was a prop firm that I'm trying to build out, and it was 60 bucks. It is what it is. What are you going to do? You can't be 100% all the time. But this particular loss was an idiotic loss, okay, because I was not paying attention, right? In this view, normally when I do views with Jarvis, I think there's one video that I do have where I have tooDegrees. Big fan of tooDegrees, so shout out to them. So this particular video, like this is the full HUD that I use when I'm trading. When I'm fully trading, um, this is what I use. Okay, so the max indicators is 7. One, Bollinger Bands. Everybody knows the Bollinger Bands. I keep that just kind of like it's like I look at it like liquid metal, right? It's very organic. It's not cold. It's not structured with blocks and stuff like that. It's organic. It's got a flow through it, right? So I have my Bollinger Bands. I have the tooDegrees inverted fair value gap. It's a great tool to have. So I have that as well. I have the fractal model. Love the fractal model. This is for showing sweeps, C2 sweeps and stuff like that, and continuations. Um, that's from tooDegrees as well. And then I have, what else do I have? The fractal model, the inverted fair value gap. I have the Forever Pro for S&T. That's also enabled. And then the OHLC stat map, basically giving you a nice guide on where all the support and resistance will be for intraday trading. Um, and then Jarvis, which is the centerpiece, frankly. Like honestly, like tooDegrees is great. Love tooDegrees. And those are the indicators that I like. They got a whole suite, but that's what I like. That's what I'm comfortable with and I feel good about, right? But Jarvis is the centerpiece. Jarvis is the intelligence. Jarvis is the brains, right? That's constantly journaling, constantly updating. So let's get into this video. Here's where I made the mistake. Number one, this is the buy signal. As you can see, look, there's no, I'm not lying, there's no stories. This is real. I actually drew out the box, 60 bucks here, man. This was a 3R I was trying to do, where I was going to take it from a little bit under the 200 up to the manipulation, bearish manipulation line of the tooDegrees OHLC stat map, basically. Okay, so the buy came through. All right, now first thing is first, which I made a mistake on. Number one, this buy was a cold blue buy. What that means is that this signal had opposing pressure. So right from the door, it's already looking a little shaky. Okay, but what I should have paid attention to the first at the first instance was this was a new key. So as you can see, it is cold. The whole HUD is cold. You can't see anything. Everything is grayed out. Jarvis is like, don't touch this trade because there's no analytics behind this. This is a brand new key. Let's work through this key. Let's work through this structure so then I can journal it and then give you some stats the next time I see it. Completely ignored that. Okay, completely ignored it. So 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 cold HUD, no new key cold HUD. There's a video out there for that, so you can take a look at that. New key cold HUD. Cold blue. There's also a video out there for that too as well. Cold blue on this signal. That means that this signal alone already has opposing pressure. So there's that. So it prints the first confirmation C2 as an A, which is good. Child comes into my office. I get a little distracted. I say, oh, wow, it's an A. Okay, no problem. I know that it's cold. No new key. I want to see what I can do with this no new key stuff, right? With a brand new key, rather. I then say, all right, if this is A, this candle must be acceptance, and then this is the follow through. But I made a mistake. It was a cold blue signal, C2 printed with an A grade, which is good, but it still needed more confirmation, which means it printed a C3. So that already tells you that this structure is not a proper A key type of structure, right? It is a structure that still needs more confirmation. So now this was not my acceptance candle. This was my confirmation 3 candle. So C2, C3. C1 is the signal. C2 is the first confirmation. C3 is the follow-up confirmation if needed. So what I was supposed to look at from my acceptance was this candle. And if you look at this candle was weak. It was a weak acceptance because this candle closed back into the previous candle. So that's already telling you this is a weak acceptance. Right from the door is weak. Okay? Play it through again. This is also another weak. So if this was a key that was already found by Jarvis, right? This would have, the acceptance here would have been yellow, I believe. It would have been yellow. But nevertheless, sometimes when you're looking at these candles from your eye perspective, that's why, you know, Jarvis is essential is using math. And math is numbers, and there's no lying in the numbers. When it weighs the candle structure, it's weighing it and it's putting all that calculation behind it. So even in your eye, you may say, wow, this looked like it closed, this way or that way, but that's just your eyes and it can play tricks on you. So I'm not even going to make any assumptions because technically this is a brand new key. The HUD is cold. I was not supposed to take this trade at all. But look what happened with tooDegrees. Um, pardon this deviation. It's supposed to be in black. I don't know why it's not showing up in black. I actually have it here in black here for the deviations. Where are you? Um, yeah, let me do this again. See if make this black and see if it'll make it black. If it doesn't, it's fine. But nevertheless, this is the deviations, right? C2 is here, prints. Okay, C2 print. There's your deviation. There's a change in state of delivery, CISD, right here. When this buy came in, this not this candle here, the first candle that gave it an A, closed above the CISD. So this is a change in state of delivery. So this is your confirmation for that. So with Jarvis is about confirmation, acceptance, commitment, execution. So I made the mistake of looking at this candle as just the C2 and that's all, and this was my acceptance candle, which it was not. This was my confirmation candle, C3 confirmation candle. My acceptance was here. So I already, that just by one candle, it completely threw off my entire game. Because what I said was, okay, well, this is probably a weak, I said at first this was a acceptance, this was a weak follow through, so there might be a little bit of a dip and then go forward. So I said, you know what? Let me enter at the confirmation C2, thinking that's all it was just C2, but there was actually two confirmations here, and then watch it go through. Watch what's going to happen here. Okay, so a little bit of a dip. I get tapped in here, so I'm excited. I'm like, okay, all right, tap me in, and then boom, there's the sell signal. It's like, okay, this is not cool. Now here's what's happening here. Sell signal fires. Also, again, brand spanking new key. So it's still quiet. There's nothing you can do with this structure. There's nothing you can do with this structure. But it's something that's a little bit different. And I'll tell you what it is. This buy signal here was a code blue. Okay? It was a code blue, meaning there was opposing pressure on that buy. This sell signal, look at that, is also a code blue. That means when the sell was going, there was an opposing pressure on the sell signal. This blue little candle here is considered a soft signal in Jarvis. What that means is that sometimes these little candles love to break structure up and mess things up. So what Jarvis will do is kind of like just press it down and say, hey, you're not coming to mess up this structure. We're going to keep this. You're going to stay in this cell and you're going to remain in this cell structure, which is right because technically, look what happens. This happened. This comes up and then this follows. Cell follows through. So there's some differences here. There's some similarities. Both had cold blue, but here's some differences. This one had an A1 print. This is your acceptance. This didn't have an acceptance. This has an acceptance. This buy structure needed two confirmations, C2, C3. This sell signal also needed two confirmations, the E candle and the C candle. C2, C3 needed for sell as well. So there was some similarities. The differences was this sell signal had a A1 print. Now, you have to have mitigation in your trades, right? If you start to see signals start to turn, like signals start to flip while you're in a trade in Jarvis, and it's looking like that signal is going to have more strength, just get out of it. This A1 printed is cold key, so there's still no analysis here, no live analysis here. But because I'm one of the designers on Jarvis, I know exactly how this works. This A1 print is already a good sign for this sell because it's an A1 actually print. Acceptance printed, a strong acceptance print. When an A1 print, it's a strong acceptance in that structure. Then there's an audit that comes behind that structure, behind that candle, which is the next candle to see how did the next candle close. Take a look how this candle closed. Right here you can see pretty tight, but this looks like a follow through. So at the very least, it was a strong print with a weak follow through for acceptance. This buy side had no acceptance printed, no A1 candle printed. So technically, if you were to look between these two structures, which one is stronger? This guy right here. By the time A1 printed and it had this follow through, I should have just got out. But, just wanted to see where it was going to go, right? So this is where it went. Boom. TP. TP here on this cell, stomp out here. Okay? So, yeah, this is where, and it's still, and it's still going. Oh my gosh, it's still going. This is crazy. All right, so this is live right now, guys. So it's still going. As you can see, this is still going. Cold. So lesson learned. 60 bucks lost. No problem. It is what it is. But you learn in the market, right? Using different strategies. So in this video, it's not just Jarvis by itself, right? Jarvis plays very well with other indicators, extremely well, because what it does is other indicators will give different contexts and confluences, but Jarvis will actually give the brain behind the structure I was building so that you get a better idea on what's happening. But yeah, a $60 loss. It's a decent long video, but I wanted to show you guys exactly what happens when you do not pay attention. This could have been avoided big time. So if you're in a signal with Jarvis and you're in a buy signal or a sell signal, and then there's a thing called a signal flip where the signal flips, okay? Structure changes. Follow it through. If you see an A1 print and then that if that A1 prints and then there's a engulfing rejection, then you're probably safe, especially if that A1 is playing inside of your stop loss. Okay, like if it was like way up here in your profit and you see an A1 print up here, let's say it was flipped up here to a sell and it started to reverse and it didn't quite hit your TP yet, it's the same thought process, right? Whether the A1 print of the opposite signal is in your stop loss or if it's in your profit, look at the prints. The prints will tell you everything. If A1 doesn't print, you're okay, you're kind of like safe. But if A2 prints, A2 is commitment, okay? A strong commitment is going to have a heavier weight than a strong acceptance with a strong follow through. So A1 prints is a strong acceptance. Next candle says, did the market continue that acceptance? Yes or no? Or was it straddled? So if it's a strong acceptance with a strong follow through, that's a pretty strong acceptance A1. But when you get a strong commitment, and again, if the HUD was live and the key was already found and it had samples, all that data would already be here. But when you're going blind, because you're literally going blind because everything is cold in Jarvis, you still have a way to interpret yourself manually, okay, without the automation of Jarvis with this HUD. This A1 printed, this candle printed after this A1, I was supposed to just get out with a with half of my loss instead of the full loss of 60. I would have lost 30. Okay, and it would have been fine because guess what happened? Look what happened here. Still continuing to the point where now this A PTC A is going downtrend. It's a potential trend continuation that now has printed a strong confirmation on this A, right? So look at the strong confirmation. Here's your A1, which is also strong. Here's your A2, which is weak. So technically, it's a strong confirmation with a strong acceptance and a weak follow through. This could come up, bounce up here, and then head back down. So this was not a good play. So just a rule of thumb, if you see it A1 print and then there's a strong or either a straddle candle after or a strong candle in the continuation of that A1, get out. Whether it's in the stop, whether it's in your stop loss, or whether if you didn't hit TP or near TP and it was pulling back, get out. Just get out with whatever you have. Either you're going to get out with half of your losses, or you're going to get out with some of your profit. Either way, get out. Don't stick around. Do not stick around. Jarvis intelligence is crazy. Okay, once it starts reading this stuff, it starts printing these labels. You really got to pay attention. And then thirdly, it's ill-advised to get into a trade with Jarvis if the key if it's a brand new key and the HUD is cold. You really gotta be able to read the room and know what you're doing with this. Okay. So yeah, it's a long video, but it's a really cool video because it shows how when you're not paying attention to structure, you can lose. Okay. The only way this structure, this trade could have been saved is if this sell came through and it was instantly rejected. It went back to a buy because that happens. It goes from a buy, sell, then a buy. Or A1 printed, but then it was rejected. That would have saved me. But I got into that retail trader in mind instead of being a non-emotional trader. In that particular moment in time, I said, oh, maybe it might work. There is no maybes in the market. Once the market starts printing these type of candles, it's already letting you know this is where we want to go. So I hope you enjoyed the video. $60 loss, but that loss is going to be your gain when you're interacting with Jarvis. Big shout out to tooDegrees. Love their tool set as well. It works beautifully with Jarvis. Um, so definitely check them out. But this will at least give you an idea that A, Jarvis plays well with others. Jarvis can play by itself as well. And you gotta just pay attention when you're ready to take trades. Hope you enjoyed the video. More to come. Thanks.